Hello, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Cheapskate channel. And this is the place where hopefully I can put more money in your pocket than you are taking out of your pocket. And hopefully you can keep some of it too. And today we're going to have an interesting little talk about a subject that sometimes is pretty bad, but this is hopefully a situation where you can kind of come out of it and put some money in your pocket. And I'm quite sure sometimes, especially if you've been encountering financial difficulty, you might have been involved in a home foreclosure or some type of property forfeiture where you had to give up the property for money. And I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't talk about, and the government definitely isn't going to tell you about it either. And just like if you have a house foreclosed on by the mortgage company or whatever kind of way to forfeit a property on, if they happen to take the property and sell the property for an amount over what you're getting, that's called an overage. And you, by law, are entitled to the money over the amount of money that they take. In other words, let's say you can't pay your mortgage, and they come and they take your house because you couldn't pay the note. And let's say you owe $50,000 on the house, just as a ballpark figure. Okay, once they take and sell your house, let's say Joe Blow or somebody, anybody, a buyer purchases the house for $80,000. Then the $50,000 that's owed your mortgage company has been satisfied. Now what happens to the other $30,000? Did you know that you are entitled to that money? Now, where is that money? Is it with the mortgage company? No. Is it with the government? Yes, it is with the government, but it's in a hidden location in the government, where if you were to go on the internet or go to some of these sites that have unclaimed funds and things of that nature, it is not listed by name. In many jurisdictions, it's listed by a reference number, or let's say the property parcel number. So if you've had a house foreclosed on or lost a house by any other means, go dig your papers out if you haven't burned them in disgust already, and look at your property thing and any other type of reference number, and then go to your government, probably the sheriff's department in your jurisdiction, or if it's a tax thing, maybe the tax people in your local jurisdiction. Don't go to the state, because the state, it's not really a state thing. It's more like a local jurisdictional thing. And they're holding the money in their coffers there. And they don't want to tell you about it because they want to get the interest and money off of your funds without you claiming it. They can't make interest off of money they don't have. So go to the proper jurisdictional people with the information there, prove your ownership, and you can get your money back. Now, of course, if you were buying property back in the real estate boom, back in the 2000s or late 1990s or whatever it is, and you lost property, well, you know, or you were trying to sell it and you had to let it go because you couldn't afford to pay for it, this is kind of like a way you can look at it like, well, you sold the property and this amount of money is your profits that no one actually told you about. Go and recover your funds. It's a simple process. Now, I live in the state of Georgia, and here we have a 5-year rule on it before you have to go get somebody to help you recover it. Now, if it's been 5 years since this has happened, go see if you can find a legal aid society if you're dead broke, or an inexpensive attorney which for a nominal fee will help you file the paperwork with it so that if you can get it paid. And let's say there's a $30,000 difference between what you owed and what they got rid of the house for, then it's worthwhile to give the attorney a little bit of the money so that you can get a big chunk. Now, the way to find out exactly what the piece of property sold for is to simply get on your local county's website and look up the history of your property, or go down to the courthouse and look up the history of your property. You know, it's very easy to go through there, and someone at the courthouse will walk you through the procedures and look through the big books to find out where the thing is done. Or it's a lot easier now to sit at home with a cup of coffee or sit at the library or whatever it is and look up the information there on your county's property website, and you can find out what happened to it, who bought it, what they paid for it, the whole ball of wax. In fact, it's very interesting to look at the history of some properties just to see the string of title, the title chain in the property. And actually, you're doing your own title search on this thing. So, you know, once you find out the story on your piece of property that you don't have anymore, then you simply go to the sheriff's department and get the proper paperwork so that you can file it and get your money. The overage in the amount of money that they made after they took your property and they sold it. Somebody's getting that money, so you know that's your money, and you have a right to collect that money. Even though the property is gone, that's still your money. That overage, that $30,000 of the $80,000 that was left, they took the $50,000 which they were due. Now that over, which is the profit, that's your money. Take that and go for it. And of course, you know, in some states you can even make a nice profit by getting an agreement with somebody who doesn't know what I've just told you, and you can make, they can make, get their money back, and you can make a profit too. Now in Georgia, to do something like that, you can get a 10% finder's fee for something like that, which, you know, some of the properties, after looking on the thing there, especially in the larger cities like Atlanta, some of them sold for huge spreads over what was owed and what was actually paid for the property. So, you know, it might be a worthwhile business, nudge, nudge, hint, hint, and something you might want to get into to generate income. But the first thing is, if you are the victim or were involved in something where you lost a piece of property and the property was sold to recover costs, then you need to check it out and look into see how much the property actually sold for. You know, I used to invest in real estate a long time ago, and lots of people I knew were in this situation, and they just simply did not know that even though their property was gone, they had cash waiting for them down at the sheriff's office or at the courthouse. All they had to do is go down there and file the paperwork, proof ownership, and get paid. Sometimes it takes 90 days, but what's 90 days if somebody's putting money in your pocket? Anyway, hopefully this has been extremely useful to you, and hopefully it'll be a comfort to you in case you might have lost a piece of property in this manner. So if you think this has been helpful to you, please like and share this information and pass it on to somebody by giving the video webpage location or URL for you all more technically inclined, located at the top of your web browser. Copy and paste it in Facebook, Instagram, link, you know, all these other different sites, and say, hey, if you got a house foreclosed on, you might be due some money. Click here and let this guy tell you what to do. Once you do this, and you find out that there actually is some merit to it, and you actually have money coming to you, go ahead and get it. It's your money. Thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully this has been some help to you. And if this has happened to you, I hope that you do collect. Thanks a lot, and check back.